Bitcoin is internet money. It's a system of money that exists on the internet, was created on the internet, and it allows you to send and receive value the same way you can send and receive an email anywhere in the world, instantaneously, without intermediaries. And that's kind of what you see at first glance. Behind that, it's a whole platform. It is, as the title of the book says, the Internet of Money. It is a set of protocols that allow you to basically exchange value with other people. But you can do a lot more with it than just that. Most people will use it as a currency. It's basically money that you can transmit from your smartphone to somebody else's smartphone directly, just like cash, but electronic. And the thing about it that's unique is that it's not owned by any corporation, any bank, or any government, just like the web isn't owned by anyone, or email isn't owned by anyone. And there's lots of companies that can send and receive email. There's lots of companies that can set up websites. There's a lot of companies that can set up applications that use Bitcoin. It's really quite interesting what happens when you create a form of money that is truly global. We really don't have forms of money that are truly global. If you even with your very advanced banking system and your access to all of the technology that you have in the American banking system, if you try to send money to some countries, it's almost impossible to do. And I experience this every time I get paid in Bitcoin. I'll go into a conference in Europe, and I'll do one conference with a banking industry and one conference with the Bitcoin community. And the little Bitcoin conference is going to be free to attend. And I don't make any money, but they sometimes cover some of my expenses. And I'll send an invoice, and the banking industry conference will send me a wire transfer. It takes, on average, 4 weeks for me to get it, with several calls to find out where it went, what's going on, why did it get lost. And it takes me on average 15 minutes to get paid in Bitcoin, no matter which country I'm being paid in.
This is a cynic in me. Is this because when they take the money and they're transferring it, they're moving it around, and now it's sitting in banks. When banks have money, if they have your money, even if it's just for a few weeks, they have the opportunity to use that money to make more money. Are they doing that?
It certainly doesn't. It doesn't hurt to keep it a bit longer. They're doing it primarily because the system has a series of intermediaries, and each of those intermediaries represent a risk. If one of those intermediaries says, I have the money for Mr. Antonopoulos' wire, and you give that money to Antonopoulos, but the intermediary doesn't give it to you, you're out of money, right? So there's risk. With every intermediary you put in, there's risk, and that's called counterparty risk. Because of the way the banking system is, with perhaps 5, 6, 7 intermediaries in a single transfer, that creates a lot of cumulative risk, and they protect with that risk by slowing things down. And that risk doesn't exist in Bitcoin because it's from one party directly to another. No counterparties. That's one of the core principles. The funny thing, I had this conversation with my bank. I said I had done this conference in Germany, Frankfurt, at the headquarters of the Bundesbank. Now, for those of your viewers or listeners who don't know, the Bundesbank is the federal bank of Germany. And they probably consider the United States Federal Reserve to be a mediocre creditor compared to the Bundesbank. This is like the best credit rating on the planet, right? And I'm going to speak at a conference there, and they're paying me for my expenses. They send a wire transfer, and I call my bank, and after 4 weeks, they finally find it and tell me, we've received your bank wire transfer. We're going to hold it because of the risk profile. I'm like, I don't understand. Well, you haven't been paid by this particular payer before, so we're going to put a hold on it. I said, you do know this is the Bundesbank, right? You are holding, and they held it for 2 weeks. You are holding for 2 weeks because of the credit risk of the Federal Bank of Germany, the most creditworthy institution. I'm not trying to receive money from Somalia. You know, this isn't even something weird. And if even they can't pay me in the age of the internet instantaneously, there is something wrong with this banking system. And there is. Because I got paid for the Bitcoin conference I was doing in the same town instantaneously.